Hello, my name is Libby Johnson, and I am the Prevention Education Director at Domestic and Sexual Violence Services in Red Lodge, Montana. I'd like to welcome you to Power Up Speak Out, our 5-lesson toolkit for educators that encourages middle school students to think critically about healthy relationships, power dynamics, boundaries, and consent. Our lessons teach students what to do instead of what not to do. The 5 lessons are interactive and engaging. Each lesson has an icebreaker, assesses student prior knowledge, introduces a core concept, and has students apply the core concept. All lessons involve getting the students moving around the room and rely heavily on classroom discussion and student involvement. Lesson 3, Boundaries. In this lesson, students will identify that personal boundaries are self-created, can change, and need to be respected. Use the red flags to examine when personal boundaries are not respected, and students will also be able to identify put-downs as an example of disrespecting personal boundaries. Before the class arrives, have the roles and expectations, healthy relationship statements, red flags, and boundaries posters clearly posted. Shuffle your bun statements, Lesson 3 media content, which includes the day in the life of Caitlin and the talking text video. Explore your boundaries flipbooks, a whiteboard, chalkboard, or flip chart, and write an introduction to the lesson in your own words. You may share why you're teaching these lessons in your classroom. For full classroom populations, you may want to consider delivering the lesson outdoors or in a large cafeteria or gymnasium space. If you are currently on an A-B schedule due to your school's COVID-19 policy, your class size is likely small enough that you can safely distance within your classroom. As we review each activity in Lesson 3, we will also explore ways to adapt these activities virtually. The roles and expectations are a classroom management tool that can be used anytime. It creates a safe learning environment for your students with clearly defined parameters. Shuffle your buns. A boundary can be defined as what's okay with me or what's not okay with me. Arrange the chairs in a large circle, removing one chair so that there are fewer chairs than participants. Read off a statement and have students find a new chair if the statement applies to them. Whoever is left without a chair will read the next statement. Repeat this process until each of the statements has been read. Ask which of the shuffle your bun statements were about boundaries. What are some examples of positive boundary crossing? For example, trying something new even though you knew it would be hard. What are some examples of negative boundary crossing? For example, sharing a private story about someone without their permission, or taking something from someone without their permission as well. In the Explore Your Boundaries activity, you divide students into small groups, giving each group an Explore Your Boundaries flipbook. Using one card from each color group, work to create an "It's okay if" statement. Next, change one of the blue or yellow cards to make a "It's not okay if" statement. Provide the groups with enough time so that each student has an opportunity to make their own statements, then bring the groups back together to discuss. Remember, boundaries are defined as self-created, boundaries can change, and boundaries need to be respected. During focus groups with students, they have often identified locker rooms and gym class as a place where boundaries are crossed in hurtful ways. Help students to hone in on Caitlin's body language in the story. This is how we help our students develop their emotional intelligence. We want students to understand that the way Caitlin's peers are crossing her boundaries makes it really hard for her to be herself and to have fun in gym class. Next, show the talking text media link and instruct students to look for the following. How were boundaries self-created or respected, and how were they not? Was there consent to cross these boundaries? How do you know? Are there any red flags? Which healthy relationship statements do you see or not see? Boundaries change. That's how we learn, grow, and try new things. In healthy relationships, boundaries can be crossed as long as they are crossed with permission. In general, strategies we find to be successful in the classroom include Circling your chairs and desks up. This allows for a more egalitarian discussion and helps kids out of their usual cliques. Consider teaching the classes outside. Have your Power Up Speak Out posters hanging on your walls following the 5 lessons so you can continuously refer to them during extension activities, classroom behavior incidents, and discussions about relationships. Reinforce core concepts by using extension activities from the Boost Pack and applying the ideas to current events, stories and literature, songs, or incidents that occur during recess. To learn more about the Boost Pack, visit our Power Up Speak Out website in the About tab. And thanks for joining me for Lesson 3 of Power Up Speak Out.